Hello, everyone, and happy summer to those of you who are down here in Texas, where it's going to be well over 100 for too many days, way too early. Can I just get an amen to any of the Texans here, right? It is warm out ahead of schedule. I looked this morning, said, is it going to cool down like to be, May temperatures instead of August? And I said, let me check, honey. And I pulled up my trusty app on my phone and I said, here's what it says for the next 10 days. 93, 93, 93, 96, 96, 96, 100, 101, 102, 103. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to stop looking. So it is warm down here, and I hope it's getting warmer for any of you that are up in the north. Goodness. I know all of you have been here before tonight, so no need to belabor, but just to let you know, we have that gorgeous text feature, which always reminds me it's Tuesday. Barb sends out a little text that says, hey, it's Tuesday and here's what's happening at Sanctuary Online, which is always good. Besides that, if you ever need to reach us, our Facebook page is alive and glowing. And also talk to us at Sanctuary in the Woods. This month, we are a little break on our books, right? We're taking a novel called Anthem, which last time we had the book club, we chose this book. Ken, the next day, like it showed up in the mail the next day, and he began reading it, I think at dinner, right, Ken? So it was
yep.
Holding your attention. Yeah.
Wonderful book. Yes.
Good. And it's going to be, again, there are 5 Tuesdays in May. This month, there are 5 Tuesdays. So I'm pretty sure it's the 31st. Yep. We're going to do Anthem. So you have plenty of time to grab that book and begin your summer reading. All right. Beyond that, anybody tell me, did you know it was National Shrimp Day today? Anybody?
Nope.
Isn't that good? Good job. We love to be about education. That's what Sanctuary is all about, right? It's education. So here you go. And as we were looking to our summer schedule, it just jumped out at us, and we thought, how fun is that for a Sanctuary kitchen to do a little bit of a shrimp boil and ask for some recipes. So luckily tonight, if you're here, you're going to get more than one. And I think, Ken, I've got a couple good pictures to start out with, and you can maybe just chat us in. Look at that. Oh. Spoiler alert. Was that good or what?
Whoa.
It's Ken in his little outfit that matches. I love that about you. You're so gay. And I think that you pulling everything up, Ken, right? Out of the big pot?
Right. Yes.
Yep, that big pot is still in the kitchen because the water's still hot. My goodness, it was amazing. And this is what we looked at when we came to dinner that night. And I don't know about you. I know your scallop shell dish. I don't have one. Do you have one? Anybody else have one? No. See, Del, we can't even do. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, this is what we looked like. So, Papa, why don't you lead us in a little bit of conversation before we go into your first video segment?
Well, I didn't even know it was National Shrimp Day until I was just kind of looking through the calendar. But then I thought, how wonderful, because, I grew up very close to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Shrimp was something that was cheap. I mean, it was so cheap that we could eat it every day. If we wanted to. We had so many different recipes, for cooking shrimp. And so I just thought it would be a wonderful time for us to celebrate National Shrimp Day with this recipe, which is a variation of the traditional shrimp boil, which includes all of these other wonderful ingredients. And so that's what we're gonna share tonight.
And Barb, if you're ready to tee up the video. The first video, my friends, is just about 11 minutes long, and it's all the ingredients that you'll enjoy. The nice thing about shrimp boil, it's not that hard, is it, Ken? It's very simple.
No, it's not hard at all.
Yeah, compared to some of the stuff we've been doing in the past. So enjoy this video.
Kitchen for this very special celebration of National Shrimp Day. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that most of you have never celebrated National Shrimp Day, but after what we're going to be sharing with you this evening, I'm also going to predict that this will not be the last time that you will be celebrating this day. The Sanctuary Cookbook, which we've been working on for several months and which will be published later this year, is going to include a lot of our favorite shrimp recipes, like shrimp and grits and shrimp creole and shrimp etouffee, a number of shrimp and pasta dishes and more, and maybe some of the recipes of yours that we're going to share tonight that you have shared with us. Sometimes a shrimp boil is nothing but shrimp, and when the only ingredient is shrimp, it is often cooked and then it is chilled and served cold. But tonight we're going to do a variation on that classic shrimp boil recipe. Sometimes this is called a low country boil. I've heard it called a Beaufort boil because it is really just an indescribably delicious combination, not just of shrimp, but of shrimp and corn and andouille sausage and potatoes and garlic and onions, all boiled together with heaps of wonderful spices and herbs, and then garnished with lemon and butter and parsley. You know, I grew up in Mississippi, close enough to the Mississippi Gulf Coast that when we talked about seafood being fresh, that meant it was in the Gulf in the morning and it was on our table by night. One of my uncles, my father's youngest brother, was a pastor in Pascagoula, Mississippi for a number of years, and he would bring wash tubs full of shrimp to all of our family gatherings. And the traditional way of having a shrimp boil was to clear everything off of your kitchen table, or maybe everything off of your picnic table, because a lot of shrimp boils were actually happened outside, and then putting down about 3 or 4 layers either of newspaper or maybe brown butcher paper. And then after everything was cooked and done, it was drained and of the table, and then gathered around, and with the bowl, there's no limit to the amount of this recipe that you can cook at one time. And since everything is cooked at the same time and in the same place together, it's a relatively easy recipe for us to learn how to do. The recipe that I'm going to be making this evening is for 6 to 8 people. It can be halved, it can be doubled, it can be tripled, whatever you need in order to meet your needs. So let's talk first of all about the cooking utensils that we need in order to make this recipe, and then talk about our ingredients. You can make a shrimp boil in any container that is big enough to hold all of the ingredients for the size of the recipe that you are making. But the kind of pot that I have here in front of me right now, one that has this kind of retrievable basket, really makes this process a whole lot easier. Now, this is a 16-quart pot. On Amazon right now, this will cost you, with the basket and everything, about $100. You can get them much smaller, you can get them much larger. Tom and I bought this pot about 30 years ago, and if you could get a close look at it, you can see that it's had a lot of activity during its lifetime. It's about 3/4 full of water right now, and it's right at the boil. So we're going to go ahead and put our basket into the pot. Now, you may remember that we've talked about this before. Cooking becomes so much easier when we gather our ingredients and measure them before we start cooking. So let's just take a look at what we have here tonight in terms of our ingredients. First of all, I have 16 ounces of lager. You can use a lager, you can use pale ale, you can use your favorite beer, whatever. And I'm going to go ahead and just put it into this pot so it can heat up with the water that's already in there. And then we've got 3 lemons that are cut into quarters. For the spices that we're going to use 2 3-ounce bags of Zatarain's crawfish, shrimp, and crab boil. These are wonderful spices, and they explain to you on the box exactly how much you will need for whatever size thing that you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and put both of those in there right now. To that, I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup. Most of us are familiar with Old Bay seafood seasoning, which has been around for about 150 years. I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of that. And along with that, 6 tablespoons of salt. And I'm going to give that a little stir right now so that can start really spicing up our water that's in there. I've also got about 10 to 12 cloves of garlic that I have peeled and then smashed. And also a bunch of fresh thyme, and I'm just going to fold it over and stick it down into my little green thyme thing that I've introduced you to before. This holds any number of herbs that you might want to use and put into different dishes that you are cooking. Then we have 1.5 pounds of small red potatoes. These are only going to cook for a few minutes, and so if you're using larger potatoes, of course, you're going to want to quarter those. And then I have 2 onions that have been peeled and quartered. 1 pound of really good andouille sausage. If you were with us for our Mardi Gras show, you may remember that you can use any kind of smoked sausage in these recipes. We like andouille because it is a Creole Cajun smoked sausage that is highly seasoned, but it is not hot. And so it adds wonderful flavor to these kinds of dishes. And then I've got 6 ears of corn, which I've cut into smaller 2 to 3 inch pieces. And then finally, of course, our shrimp. I have 3 pounds of skinned and deveined shrimp here. So, in addition to that, of course, we're going to have a lot of butter available. We're going to have a lot of lemon juice and parsley available at the end of this. Also, you're going to want to be sure that on your table, you have your favorite sauces. Always have a good hot sauce on your table. On our table, we're also likely to have tartar sauce, a red cocktail sauce, a horseradish sauce, and then remoulade. Now, if you're not familiar with remoulade, you need to Google it, because this is a variation of a French sauce, but this one originated with the Cajun and Creole people in Louisiana. It starts with a mayonnaise base, and then it has capers and pickles and just wonderful things that are especially good with this kind of dish. So we're ready to start cooking now. We've already put our lager and our Zatarain's and our Old Bay in. So now let's just add our garlic and our thyme we've already added. So now we're ready to start adding our edibles, because everything we put in there so far are our herbs and spices and seasonings, all the things that are going to make the things that we're actually going to eat taste so good. And of course, as we put our edibles in, we're going to put them in according to the amount of time that it takes for them to cook. And our potatoes are going to take the longest amount of time, and so we're going to go ahead and put them in first. And I'm going to go ahead and put the onions in with them. They're going to cook for about 10 minutes. And then after that, we're going to add our sausage and our corn and allow them to cook for about 10 more minutes. So we're going to do all of that, and then we'll be back in about 20 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
And let me bring you some gorgeous photographs, just so as Ken was sharing, we can grab these a little bit up close and personal here. Y'all can see that. Ken, any questions there or anything you want to bring folks' attention to regarding the, or anybody have any questions regarding the ingredients?
I'm curious about what people's experiences are with what we are calling a shrimp boil. And as we were doing this, Tom, who grew up in upstate New York, said, you know, this is a lot like our clam bake that we did there. So I'm wondering if people who live in different parts of the country might have experiences with similar kinds of feasts, or if anybody actually is familiar with what we're doing here as a shrimp boil.
I was friends with a girl whose family lived in New Jersey, and I went up there one summer, and they did this with a lobster boil. That was really a treat. And they dumped everything out on newspaper. It was the Woods family.
And that's the same thing you were saying, right? Dump it. You normally, if this was in the South, we would just dump everything when it got done out in newsprint in the middle of the picnic table and go after it, right?
Right.
Right.
My experience with this is a little Midwestern. I'm trying to think, the very tip, who knows this? There's an area like, Cynthia, you might know, up in, I want to say Wisconsin, way up there, and they do fish boil. And it's famous in the fall in Michigan. And they do the exact same thing. They've got fish boils, it's white fish everywhere. And they have sausage and potatoes and corn and onions and the same thing. You go through, masses of people go through and they like scoop it out to you basically. And you sit out on picnic tables and you eat whitefish, you know? So I don't know if it's just different areas of the world. Man, I'll try and think of the name of that where it is, but we would used to go up there in the fall every year to these parts of northern Wisconsin. But
Are you talking about Door County?
Door County, thank you. See, thanks. Yeah.
Bud said it first. I'll give credit.
Okay. It's a beautiful area, and it's beautiful to go up there with when the colors are alive, right? That's when it's really, really popular. We used to go up there every year and do that. I'm going to draw attention to this one, y'all, my friends, just because last time, Ken, when you were making something, you stuffed a whole bunch of herbs into a green thing, and everyone went wild in the chat. So this is from
broth.
Pardon?
It was vegetable broth.
Vegetable broth, right? Yeah, between stock and broth. And this is from Pampered Chef, isn't it, Ken?
Yes, this is Pampered Chef. If you Google herb holders or something like that, you can find all kinds. Some are metal. I like this one. It's like that rubber, and you can cram a lot of different herbs into it, and then just throw them into a pot, you know, and it's totally heat resistant. And so this is my favorite of all of those, but there are many, many variations of this.
And there's only one problem if you buy it from Pampered Chef, right? It's going to last till Jesus comes back, you know, so
Right.
good products. All right, well, I think we've got one more picture here. So these first ingredients of those, the spice bags, right, Ken? And onions on the
Yes,
left-hand side?
Mm.
Yes, people may not be familiar with this, but Zatarain's is a brand name for many, many different products that are sold in the South, particularly for Cajun and Creole cooking. And Zatarain's crawfish, shrimp, and crab boil comes in a box, and then inside the box there is a bag, and the bag is filled with these wonderful spices. It's a 3-ounce bag, and on the box it tells you, this is enough for this many pounds of shrimp or this many pounds of crab or whatever. And so for this recipe, I'm using 2 of those 3-ounce bags of Zatarand spices.
Good deal. And it wouldn't be sanctuary without a tiny bit of education. So wondering if you all knew before tonight that on average, Americans eat 4 pounds of shrimp per person each year. So hands up if you know that you eat more than that.
And by the way, that's 1 billion pounds of shrimp a year that Americans eat, and we export almost that many more pounds to other countries.
Wow.
Otherwise, we could eat 8 pounds apiece. I don't know why we export the stuff, doggone it. And because normally we've got Canadians on tonight, but one of them is down at the Mervish Theater and one of them is with their mother. Anyway, 50% of Canadians say that shrimp is their favorite seafood to eat at home. So we're not going to ask secondary level questions because there are no Canadians on here tonight. So, and finally, you can put your answer in the chat here. How many species do you believe there are of shrimp? Let's get that chat box going. Oh, Bud and Dell, you might have to disagree because I saw those faces. He's like, nope, they're just 50 little species, the little fellas, 100 species, 1,000 species. We got a 300. We got a 1,000. We got a 10. 10 was not a who is this? 10. Whose iPhone? Is that Cindy? Cindy, it's totally you. I knew it. 10 is not an option, so it's not an answer.
Oops. You're welcome.
You're welcome. 50, 300. I got 2 300s, 1,000, a 50, and a 10, Cindy. Thank you. Who Googled it? Did somebody Google it?
Of course.
Darcel, did you Google it?
Sure.
Pardon? Where'd you go? I'm losing you. Oh, I don't have Darcel's face. Anyway, the answer is, drum roll, please. Woo! 300 species of shrimp in the world. So you're welcome. Once again, plenty of education still ahead tonight.
Joey, I'm lucky enough if I can get on here, let alone Google while I'm on a Zoom meeting.
I thought maybe you were using 2 devices, Darcel. There we go. All right, let's jump in. I think we have yep. Barb, go ahead and pop. I'll stop my share, give you the command, and Papa's next video.
Well, Papa's talking, but
But nothing's showing.
yeah, he's not talking to anybody.
A screen share with sound.
There we go. But we got the sound without the screen share. That's the problem.
That's not nearly as much fun. Here we go.
No, it isn't.
A few more minutes, and so it's time to add our final ingredient. And of course, this is the star of this show, which is our shrimp. When you buy shrimp, you will almost always see 2 different numbers separated by a hyphen on the package, like 21-25. What that means is that for the shrimp that you are buying, it will take 21 to 25 shrimp in order to make 1 pound. Of course, that means that the smaller the numbers, the larger the shrimp, and the larger the numbers, the smaller the shrimp. But that allows us to buy the exact size shrimp that we need for whatever purpose that we're intending to use it. Commercially, in the United States, shrimp are graded with seven different levels of size the smallest of these shrimp, the category is just called small, and it takes 60 to 80 shrimp to make 1 pound. The largest of these 7 categories is called super colossal, and it takes only 13 to 15 shrimp in order to make 1 pound of those. The shrimp that I'm using are 21 to 25. This category is called jumbo, and it's just above the median level of shrimp among those 7 different categories of sizes. Shrimp are a very important part of our diets here in the United States because they are very low in carbohydrates. They're very high in micronutrients and in antioxidants. And as a result, we Americans eat about 1 billion pounds of shrimp a year, and we export almost that equal amount to other countries around the world. I think one of the things that makes shrimp really interesting is that, you know, within the animal kingdom, there are a number of different species that can actually change their gender. They are called prototagonous hermaphrodites, and some species can change their gender once. They're born as one gender, and at some time during their lifetime, they can change to the opposite gender. And then there are a number of different gender species that can change their gender as many times as they want to, and they do that for procreational purposes. If they need to be male in order to have procreate, they become male. If they need to be female, then they become female. Shrimp are all born males, and then subsequently, some of them change their gender to female. And biologists tell us that the number that change their gender to female do that in order to try to populate that generation with the very best number of shrimp in terms of their environment and food supply and so forth. To me, that just feels like one more miracle of nature that we can stand in awe of. So now I'm going to add our shrimp. I have the 3 pounds of shrimp, and I'm using 21 to 25 shrimp per pound, which are called jumbo shrimp for this recipe. They're only going to take about 3 to 5 minutes because shrimp will cook really, really quickly. As soon as they become kind of pink and translucent, then we know that they are done. As soon as those shrimp are done, that means that our shrimp boil is done, except for one thing, and that is that one thing I promised you I was going to tell you earlier. I have learned this trick that I think makes this dish just absolutely irresistible. And so we're going to cook these shrimp for a few minutes, and then we're going to drain all of our ingredients, and I'll be right back to show you this final product, and also to show you this one last trick that makes this just the most perfect shrimp boil possible. See you in just a minute.
Hey, Joby, back to you.
All right, Barb, thank you. I'm gonna toss another picture up, Ken, so people can start to salivate here. Let's see. How's that? Can you see that? Doesn't that just like, can you taste that right now? Almost. So,
Joby,
yes.
Gary here.
Hi, Gary.
I assume those gender changing shrimp, they're banned in Texas and Florida.
I was waiting for
Wouldn't that-
someone to lift that up, Gary. Thank you.
Yes, wouldn't that be horrible if they outlawed shrimp? Because shrimp are capable of changing their gender. They're doing it with humans. We don't know. Maybe shrimp will be next.
Well, and there's probably laws in the pipeline right now. You know, it's that kind of a world right now. But after tonight, we may start a stand up for shrimp. You know, so and head to the Capitol, head to Abraham Lincoln's feet, right, and have a chat with people. But really, this was, thanks, Gary, for bringing that up. This was so
Joby,
good. Ken, yeah?
Yeah, one of the things about this particular dish, is that the traditional shrimp boil usually involves only shrimp. And this one, as I mentioned earlier, has different names in different parts of the country, like Beaufort boil or Low Country boil or whatever. But one of the things that really makes this dish so incredibly delicious is what you're looking at there. And it's a combination, not only of shrimp cooked in all of these spices, but then you also have corn and potatoes and sausage and onions. And so this is not just shrimp. This is a full dinner. This is a really full meal, all cooked together, even though shrimp remains the star of the show.
Star. Yeah, yeah. And a little more trivia. Come on, someone's got to get this one tonight. I know you're beyond being so good looking, I tend to think you're quite a bright group. The most common seafood oxymoron. And this is a hint right here. If this was a very large, it might be called a, Janice, you got it? Tip of your tongue?
Prawn.
Crawfish.
Very close, but no. Kelly, even no. You all are oxymoron, right? 2 words
I don't know what an oxymoron
Go
is.
together. that you wouldn't think would go together. Like,
Jumbo shrimp.
oh, okay, good job.
Yeah.
Now you understand, right? I mean, you understand our afternoon. We were trying to do a little bit of education here. So now, one of our recipes, this is,
Joby,
go ahead, Tim.
another question I see here. Stead asked, do you always peel the shrimp? And how many pounds per person? You don't have to peel the shrimp for this, particularly when the only ingredient in the shrimp boil is shrimp. They often are not peeled. And then when they are poured onto the middle of the table after they've been chilled, then you peel the shrimp as you eat them. So they do not have to be peeled. What I do is, with a dish like this, when there's so many other ingredients along with the shrimp, I go ahead and peel the shrimp, but I take those shrimp peels and I boil them down and make a shrimp kind of broth out of them, which you can use later in a gumbo or some other in some other dish. But the answer to Stedney's question is you don't have to peel them, ahead of time.
But in this dinner, they were peeled, right, Ken?
Yes, they were. Yes.
Peeled, deveined, and their little tails cut off, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And Ken, how many pounds per person in this recipe?
Yeah, usually it's about a half a pound per person in a recipe like this that includes other things like corn and potatoes and so forth. And then if you're only doing a shrimp boil, then it may be a little more than that, a little more than a half a pound per person.
Yeah. Because in this, you get the sausage and the potatoes and everything like that as well. So.
Right. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. We did ask some people for other shrimp recipes. As you know, I hope you know, we're putting a cookbook together, and we're trying to look for different recipes, not just the ones from Sanctuary, but those of you of our loyal family out there in Cyberville. And Michael Alcinius sent this like right away. He popped this one in. So Michael's not able to be here tonight, but what we will be doing is in the email that we send out next week, we will attach all the recipes, okay? So you don't need to watch it tonight, you don't need to look at it. But Michael, this is a lime cilantro, which already sounds fabulous, with orange marmalade, some good garlic in there, cilantro or a flat leaf parsley, soy sauce, and hot crushed peppers. Where does Michael live? Anybody know? Sounds like Texas to me.
Yeah, Palm Springs.
Well,
Palm
there you go.
Springs.
And so this one is real nice for parties. As you see his little extra pop up there, you put all the ingredients in a plastic bag, put them overnight in the fridge or in the fridge all day. And this is fabulous for an evening little snack or taking to a party, except not today in Texas because you will recook them as soon as you put them outside because it's so freaking hot.
Yeah.
All right, so we
And
appreciate that
postal.
from Michael. And one more shrimp trivia. Come on, dig it. Which of these shrimp is not an actual real live kind of shrimp? And you can put these, I saw a few of you putting things in the chat, or you can just shout it out loud. What do you think?
Rock shrimp.
No, that's
I got to vote for,
Graham.
do you think there is rock shrimp, Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, so nice try there, Gary, but Kelly apparently has eaten some. Her part of her 4 pounds come from rock shrimp. Aesops, I think that's how you say that, right?
Yeah.
Banana
Aesop.
prawns or Grimm's?
B.
Aesop, a B. Cindy, that's your vote, okay?
Aesop
face.
writes
Can't even
fables.
tell.
so
Kelly, you had that
probably
kind of shrimp too?
No, I said Aesop writes fables, Aesop's fables. So,
Well, and maybe he eats shrimp while he's writing fables. Who knows, you know? And then Darcel, you're choosing number C. Darcel, did you Google that again? And finally, Del, did you pick D because that's how you spell your name? Because you're right. Good job, Mr. Lawhead. You're the first person to pick. So there are rock shrimp, there are Aesop shrimp, and there are banana prawns. So give it up. There are no prizes, Del. Congratulations for just being nice. Okay, Barb, help me out. I think we've got one more video of Ken finishing this up, right?
Right.
All right.
Okay. See if I
Video
can manage
and
to,
sound. Yeah. I have faith in you.
Are done. We have drained them. We've arranged them in this big, clear, seashell-shaped dish. Remember, we eat first with our eyes. You don't want to eat anything that doesn't look like it would be good to eat. And so presentation is always very important for us. And so the last thing we do is we put some of our lemon juice onto here, because lemon juice, remember, brightens up anything you are cooking. And I promised you that I was going to show you one last trick that was going to make this absolutely irresistible, and here it is. What I have in this measuring cup is about a half of a stick of butter. I've put a little bit of strainer there on the top of that because I want to be sure that our liquid is clear. And I have a cup and a half of this hot liquid from the pot that we cooked everything in. So it's got all of our spices and our herbs and our seasonings. It's got all of the flavors of all of our different edibles that we put in there. So now I'm gonna just let that hot liquid melt that half of a stick of butter. Then you know what I'm gonna do, don't you? I'm gonna pour it all over. I'm gonna pour it all over our dish here, and that's what's gonna make this an absolutely irresistibly delicious meal. And then finally, we'll just put a little bit of parsley over it. And that is the Sanctuary Kitchen shrimp boil. Happy Shrimp Day, everybody. Bon appetit. Buen provecho, and everyone, y'all enjoy. See you next time.
sorry, what was that you poured on it? On the butter?
Oh, Ken, tell her again.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand the question.
What was
What
in the
did you-
butter?
What'd you pour
Oh.
on the butter?
Oh, yes, what I did, the last thing I did was to take a half of a stick of butter, put it in the bottom of, that was a 4-cup glass measuring bowl with a handle. And then I took a cup and a half of the hot liquid
Oh,
from the pot that had all those spices and herbs and everything in it, and let it
Yum.
melt that butter and whisk all of that together, and then pour that over everything. And it's like this final touch that just makes it really just
Yeah.
irresistibly
But
delicious.
where does the Miracle Whip come in?
There is no Miracle Whip. That is an abomination.
Oh my goodness. Look at this. Look
Ken,
at this.
where do you add the lemon, Ken?
Yes, the lemons can be added. The lemon juice can be added almost any time, during the cooking process. I like to squeeze lemon wedges over all of the ingredients after they are done, because as you know, lemon juice just is a brightener. It kind of brings out, all of the different flavors. And so you can add lemon juice anytime during the process. But I do like to squeeze lemon juice right there at the end.
Yeah.
Well, you
After the
guys are-
Miracle Whip?
Maybe the Miracle Whip's in the Remoulade. That's the recipe I want.
Me too.
Y'all, stop talking about that Miracle Whip.
Good.
Well, I was thinking of that, Kelly. We didn't take a picture of the sauces, did we? All the
Nope.
dips.
No, we didn't. No.
Oh,
But
man.
the sauces, by the way, sauces are very important with this meal, as you can imagine, because just a good hot sauce on what you're looking at there is one thing, but then I love horseradish sauce with this. Tom loves tartar sauce and red cocktail sauce with all of this. And then the remoulade, if you're not familiar with remoulade is a Cajun Creole sauce that is a derivative of a very famous French sauce. But if you Google it, just remoulade, Remoulade. You start with mayo, and then you add a lot of different things to it, and it's especially good.
Ken, give me the spelling again. I'll put it in the chat.
Remoulade, Remoulade, Remoulade. And it, by the way, in Cajun, it's used very often in Cajun cooking. If you've ever had a po' boy, if you've ever had an oyster po' boy or a shrimp po' boy in New Orleans, you probably had remoulade sauce on it.
It was so good. So, Tom, was yours homemade, of course? Tom? Tom's on mute. Homemade? Absolutely. My favorite of the whole night. And
Because he had, it had, what are those capers they said in it? I
yes,
would love that
Capers.
recipe.
Yes.
so check you out, Barb.
It says it goes well with French fries too.
Oh, I would.
Yes.
Yes. Lots of people eat remoulade with French fries. Yeah.
And with fried tomatoes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly. I think remoulade goes good with my face, Del. I was just like, plant, man. Whenever Tom makes a sauce, I tell you what, I'm a sauce girl, and living with that man, I'm well cared for. Oh, well, we got some. Of course, we have more trivia, but we also have some recipes for you. I'm just going to chat through them kind of quickly because, like I said, we'll send them on to you, and we'll see which ones actually make the cookbook. But this is one I was showing it to you ahead of time. Didn't mean to. From Barb. Barb, do you want to speak to this at all? Or or someone's growling. Someone's angry about
yeah.
this.
This is a really easy one. And that's important to me. I'm not a great cook, but a little bit of lemon, a little bit of crushed red pepper, garlic, olive oil or vegetable oil, and then your shrimp. And broil the shrimp, coat it with the, with the mixture, the ingredient, put it under the broiler for a couple minutes, and then make the basil mayonnaise. And it is just delicious.
Yeah.
So that's where the Miracle Whip is. Del, right there. Okay. So and Barb, a picture, right? Gorgeous.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see. Just in case you're wondering who eats the most shrimp, it would be the Japanese. Okay. They're way ahead of us. And there's probably some good reasons for that. Like Ken said, we ship half ours out. I love this one. If I had asked you which city in the US ate the most shrimp, what would you have come up with? Because I would not have come up with Vegas.
Wow.
No, me
Yeah,
either.
I would have come up with a more southern city like New Orleans, probably, or maybe Miami. So yeah,
Vegas.
Tom says it's because of the buffets. Yeah,
It's,
the casinos.
he's probably
They don't
right.
have buffets anymore.
Oh, not with COVID, right, Janice?
They have, I was there in February and we didn't see one single buffet anywhere.
Yeah, the world is changing and not always for the better, huh?
I know, I was disappointed.
I think the thing with shrimp too, it's such an easy protein. If you're gonna power at the roulette table all through the night, right? Or you got the hot streak at blackjack, shrimp is easy to pick up, cold, warm, or hot, a bunch in your hand, and you're on to the next table with those, nasty paws full of money and chips and things. So anyway, if you need some shrimp, head to Vegas, okay? And Darcel, now here's a question, Darcel. I am curious whether this is actually your recipe or your recipe because Carly loves shrimp so much. I heard this tonight, yes?
Yes, I made it specifically for Carly.
And that's
So,
why you're doing
yeah,
so well, aren't you?
She loves it. And the nutmeg is Tom's suggestion.
Where is it? Right here, a pinch of nutmeg. Always Tom.
But y'all, Darcel and Carly are going to be here with us in Texas next week, and we can't wait.
Yay.
Yay.
Darcel, bring nothing long sleeved unless it's to protect you from the sun. Okay, I'm just saying. It's when it says it's only got 2 digits in the temperature, but the feels like, yeah, we've been into 3 digits and feels like. When you're here, it's actually going to go legally into 3 digits, and the feels like will be something like, I don't know, Mars on a warm day or something like that. So it's going to be, it's like coming in August, I tell you. Anyway, so here's Darcel's ingredients, and go ahead, Darcel.
I hope the pool is the pool warm?
Yes, the pool is the pool is warm and ready to go. Yep.
And my friend Bader will be in there with you because she thinks pools are cool.
Hey,
so
you're making me jealous. I'm
well, come on
jealous.
up, Cindy. Cindy, they make
Well,
airplanes.
come on, Cindy.
Yeah, they make
Get on a
airplanes up where
plane,
you live.
girl. Get on a
You're
plane.
right.
So anyway,
The
I want
hell
to get
would
this.
work. I'll just jump on a plane.
Come on, do 'em. So anyway,
Yeah,
this is
why not?
Darcel's shrimp Alfredo. Little bit of the ingredients and the things to do to make it work, and then toss with cooked fettuccine, adding additional pasta water. Where'd you get that, Ken? And garnishing
Yep.
with parsley, right? So I'm gonna try that one, Darcel, and one little bit of trivia left. I know you were waiting for the last piece. Mary Ellen, come on, you were waiting, right? You weren't gonna leave till you got that last little bit of shrimp trivia. But the Mexican Riviera is the world's shrimp capital distributing, hopefully to all of us who go there, more than 40,000 tons of shrimp across the globe. That's a big O number.
Wow.
Tons, friends, tons.
Well, that's at least 80 million pounds, maybe more.
Mhm.
Yeah, give it. And then you know what? Because of this Mexican Riviera, I asked Darcel to do one more favor for us. And so Darcel, this is your mystery Mexican shrimp cocktail, because when you texted it to me, there was just pound of medium shrimp. I'm like, 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds?
It depends on how much you want to make. I use about a half a pound,
Half a
depending
pound?
on the size of the shrimp. I mean, the more the merrier. I love shrimp, and I have been eating this a lot. It's been good for my diet.
Absolutely. That's, when I was Googling shrimp this morning, there's so many things. Honestly, if you Google National Shrimp Day, recipes will come up for you and different trivia, why shrimp is so good for us, why it's so easy to eat, why we love it so much. So it's all out there. Darcel, you were going to say one more thing.
No, depending on how hot you want it, you don't have to use the jalapeno or not. Like Carly doesn't like heat, so I don't put it in, but I will put tapatio sauce in at the end for myself.
There you go.
They
Well,
serve that in, they serve it in margarita glasses in the Mexican restaurants here.
It's delicious,
yes.
and it's great on a hot day.
It is. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. Carly, or Darcel, sorry, I would have loved to put your instructions in
It's all good.
the slide, but they came in, you know how whenever you send a text, and you send like 4 texts and they're not in the right
Yeah.
order? Yeah, I have no
Uh-oh.
idea which order. So we'll get back with you before we send an email out. And today, friends, if you're not sure that we have your email in our database, it's the right day to put it in the chat. And Barb will pick that up, because when we send the email out this week, we will add these recipes, obviously the sanctuary recipe. And if you have a recipe, but you didn't get a chance to send it in, you could send that in either to me, Facebook Messenger, Joe Bell, or you could email it to talktous@sanctuaryinthewoods.com. And if you do that first part of the week, we like to get our email out often on Monday, Sunday, sometimes Monday. So go for it, bring it in. And my friends, once again, summer schedule for Sanctuary Online. So we will be seeing you next time on March 31st. And
May 31st.
May.
yeah, let's do May. You're right. You're right. I told you I had a tough day, didn't I? Did I tell you I had a tough day? Let's see, right up here. Bang, bang. May 31st for Anthem. And Noah Hawley is the author. There are quite a few books named Anthem. Janice, I think it was you, right? You got your answer to that relatively. And
Yeah,
again,
I got the right one.
plenty of time to read it. It's a great novel, and it grabbed Ken, I think by page 3. So that's always a wonderful conversation. And then we do have a summer schedule ready for you. We're going to probably be coming, interesting this year. We'll be taking each month based on some kind of theme in that month. So as obviously Shrimp Day, National Shrimp Day was, the clear choice for May. Dale, I think you were with us last year on Earth Day, right? In May or April, whenever that was. But so we'll put up a calendar for June, July, and August, but it'll be pretty much 2 weeks a month. One will be book club, because our book club is so loyal and wonderful, and they would harm us. They would drive down here and harm us if we stopped doing book club every month. And the rest will be kind of like this, kind of fun, hopefully educational, maybe inspirational, but just really enjoying the summer conversation. So we always thank you and honor you when you spend your time with us at Sanctuary in the Woods. So my friends, thank you, Papa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the work, Ken. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Good
Bye.
night, everybody. Thanks for popping in, Cindy.
And
Stephanie.
Tom, the recipes for the sauce that you're going to put in the cookbook.
Yeah, maybe we'll get Tom's sauce too, Kelly, because it was really, really, really good. And
Yeah.
also, Tom makes just the regular shrimp sauce that he makes, it's not like what you get in the store.
I would like all his sauces.
I know you would. You gotta. We'll have a section in the cookbook, Tom's sauces.
Okay.
All right. Good night, Gary. Good night,
Night.
Good night.
Give my sissy a kiss.
Night, everybody.
Good night,
Bye,
Janice.
y'all.
Bye,
I
y'all.
hope, I hope Cheryl's better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take care of Carol.
Give my sissy a kiss for me.
She's gone. She's already in bed.
I figured she'd be asleep.
Ah, bless you.
Okay. Night,
Oh, goes in threes.
night. Bless you.
Pardon? Yeah,
I
she's
said
already in
bless you.
bed. So give her some prayers tomorrow. She'll be hurting more tomorrow, right?
Okay, night.
All right, y'all. Whew.
Good night.
Cindy, are you making me sneeze?
You didn't sneeze 3 times, did you?
Is that bad luck or good luck?
Good luck. Good night
All right,
now.
I did then. Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
All right,
You
night
as
night.
well. Toodle.
Toodaloo.